Okay, everybody, so here we are. Today's Friday, and we are now doing our What's Up Downtown with Jonathan. And today, we're talking about Attic Books. Attic Books is one of the bookstores that is actually included in the Atlas Obscura as one of the best bookstores in the world. So come on in, and we will show you.
Go in the indoor.
We will go in the in way. Brian's keeping me organized. And here we are. We are now in Atlas Obscura's, rated one of the top bookstores in the world. And right over here, we have Marvin Post, the proprietor of how long now?
45 years.
And how many years at this location?
25.
And has the ghost ever bothered you?
No.
Oh, we found out why there's a ghost.
Oh, why is there a ghost here?
I don't know.
Why is there a ghost here?
Lisa told you the story about the riverboat,
Oh, it's from the river.
the Victoria disaster.
The Victoria
They
disaster.
had no place to store the bodies. Every building downtown had a body.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool. So anyway, so here we are in this is only one floor, by the way, and this is the retail part plus a floor downstairs that we're going to show you and a floor upstairs. But you also have a pretty extensive online business.
That's the third floor, which
It's the fourth floor.
Why don't we move away from the door?
So can you give us a tour?
Europe, North America.
I noticed that your staff totally disappeared. This is Emma over here. And you can follow Emma, who writes about books, on her Instagram, which is called
The Bookshelf of a Champagne Child.
So there we have Emma. And as you can see, there are books everywhere. And so many. By the way, this will be all cleared right down to the glass within hours, because there is this non-stop sorting and organizing. Not only is it one of the largest bookstores in the world. How many staff do you have there?
10.
And that's pretty extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
especially for a secondhand
Yeah.
bookstore.
Yeah.
But you're not just secondhand bookstores. You also
I do some new books.
New
on
books.
local history.
Yeah, and we will actually be discussing upstairs from the vault with the author Jenny. And but also, what's the most expensive book you've ever sold?
I sold a Nuremberg Chronicle, which was an illustrated history of the world from 1497, and I sold that for 100,000 US.
Yeah, and right now you've got that extraordinary set of books. The one, the big one.
So it was the Voyage of the Challenger, which was the first in-depth exploration of the ocean below 45 feet. So it was done in 1870, and it's 50 volumes, large volumes, and
it's in really good condition.
it's in
But
really
isn't there something that you've actually got a volume that's normally one that isn't there?
it's quite often incomplete,
Yeah.
and some of the volumes, like it changes with each location.
So for anybody who's looking for a set of books to really occupy some space, they can see the picture of that on your website.
On the website.
Now, is that on the Attic Books website?
Yes.
Okay, so Attic Books has a very, very extensive
Atticbooks.ca.
atticbooks.ca. But anyway, so also postcards are very big with you.
Yes, I do a lot of postcards. That's
And this is books going out. These are books that have. This is Becky is in charge of that department. These are
Rebecca.
books that,
Becky.
I know that by now. I'm only in here but so this is just today's going out.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is today's
So
orders.
these are the books that people have found online and that are being shipped.
And you ship worldwide, right?
we ship worldwide.
And however you want it to be shipped. You just ship something off to Greece.
Yes, that was last summer. No, that was 2 summers ago. Last
Really
summer
have
was 38 volumes to Australia.
That was a big step.
And one of the, like with the, go ahead. with the postcard collection, I know that they start at like $1, and they what's the most expensive postcard? Do you remember?
Probably close to 200.
$200 for a postcard, which is $300 less than I paid for a postcard a couple weeks ago, unintentionally. But we won't go into that. Now, what's really cool here? Here you see the new arrivals, which is not indicative of the number of books that actually arrive in a week. But every Tuesday, this is changed. And there's another one which is changed every Thursday, and then this one is changed every Wednesday. And I'm often in here on a Tuesday morning looking over somebody's shoulder if I'm 5 minutes late, because that is a really, really
By
popular...
6 feet apart, of course.
And 6 feet, well, yeah. So I said, no, fortunately, since I've had my cataract surgery, I can see. Yeah. So this location is now 25 years,
Yes.
and you put everything together.
And you have the oldest elevator in London, don't you?
It's one of the oldest. The Gardner, the former location of Gardner Galleries,
Yeah.
is an older one, and then Bud Gowan's was also an older one, but
I see Cassandra started watching.
the scariest one was Bud Gowan's.
I was
old
in that
elevator.
thing.
Pardon?
I was in that thing.
Oh yeah. Well, he used it for storage.
That was also like I only found out about all the haunted buildings recently, but one of the things that I really like about coming in here is that as you can see, it's really well organized. There's all the categories, and the other thing, you've got a real thing for condition.
Yes,
So
but it's not a fetish. Well, some places have a fetish about condition, and it has to be like
as new,
or better.
Yeah.
Because even from the publisher, quite often the books are not up to some standards.
well, that's like that place that sells records, where they'll sell records into the thousands because they will listen and have the best pressing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
But still, I mean, the selection that you've got is pretty extraordinary.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so all of the books that are online, none of those are on display,
Correct.
except for maybe some of the, like
No.
down...
No, even those.
In
Oh,
store
there-
only.
Is the Video Revival still here?
No, it's online now.
Oh, it's online. So there's, and this is for anybody that lives in London, this is a great time to pop in because once a year, Marvin gives people an opportunity to benefit from even better prices than normal. And this ends at the end of February?
End of March.
End of
Or
March.
Not quite.
Yeah.
Just before March the 27th. So
It's a great price.
Yeah, so it's...
Especially on all the already great prices in the basement.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll just do a quick pop down to the basement because this is really, because then you can tell us about how a book...
We can't go down to the basement
We can't go down to the basement?
because the connectivity might not be there.
Oh, okay. So the connectivity, but we'll post a couple of still photos. But down in the basement is just like this. The only difference being is that, to explain the process of a book arrival.
Okay, so we put a book out on the shelf, and then after it's been there for a while, we move it downstairs and half price it. So that way we keep our inventory fresh.
And then,
So in the basement, it's half price, and then every 6 months or so, we chop the price in half again. And then eventually it ends up on our dollar carts when the weather is somewhat warmer than it is right now.
and what's really cool is that because of the condition of the books and because of the respect that Marvin and his team have for the books, there have been occasions where somebody who's desired to own their own bookstore, they have bought the entire basement.
Correct. Yep.
And then I have to wait till it gets restocked, which is always really, really exciting. But as you can see down here, there are literally, like, pick a topic, and the staff are very knowledgeable. They have been here, well, how long has Cassandra been here?
15 years.
Yeah. And what's really cool is that the staff are very, very knowledgeable. Not only are they knowledgeable, when you call the line, Emma or Mateus or Cassandra, they will go look for the book. They know their books. They're really, really, really quite wonderful. And let's pop upstairs. I want to see Jenny. We're going upstairs now. We're going to introduce you to Jenny. Jenny is.
I should lure Cassandra out.
What?
Lure Casey out.
Lure Casey. Well, Casey.
We're gonna go up the front. She'll go down the back.
Okay, so here we are on the second floor. And bearing in mind there is another floor up above, which is chock-a-block with books, and it's actually a double height ceiling. And that's where all the books that have yet to be sorted to come here. And that's where you've got all your online inventory. Yeah. But over here, I'd like to introduce you to Jenny. And Jenny, tell us a bit about what you do.
What I do here from the store is catalog our books, and a lot of them go online for sale online. Take
So-
photographs and
So you're cataloging the significant books, like you would have cataloged the Vinegar Bible and
right,
pieces like that, pieces that people who are looking to purchase want to know, like if it's a first state, second state, significant books
right,
that are unlikely to be somebody just walking in.
right, correct.
Yeah. And then Jennifer Granger. Where's the other one? So these are really cool. So for anybody who is into local, how long did it take you to put these together? 2 years. So this is
The same book.
same book. Marvin's right on the ball there. So this is volume 2, and this is volume 1. And as you can see, Jen did not have anything to say with the book design. So this one is wider, but these are really amazing. It is chock-a-block of photographs of London. And so, researching, did you get to pick the photos as well? Okay, so just as a matter of curiosity, there are hundreds and if not thousands of photos in here. Do you know how many photos there are?
About 1,000 in each book.
So 1,000 in each book, and how many photographs did you have to go through?
We went through a couple thousand and chose the best ones.
So was that on microfiche, or were you actually physically looking at photos?
Sometimes the actual photos, but most of the time videos.
So, and this one, was this the first one?
That was the first one.
Yeah. So this is what inspired these?
Maybe we'll be in the next one.
It's a different photo collection.
Yeah.
It's the Orr photo collection, and they're early photos of London around the turn of the 20th century.
So that's pretty, and both these books have been doing really, really well.
They're doing very well.
Yeah, Marvin has been wonderful at supporting his staff and making sure that this book has been front and center, that you cannot come in here without tripping over it. But anybody who's interested, what are these selling for now?
That's a very good question.
Is that a question that the boss knows?
$39.95 for volume 1
Right?
and $44.95 for volume 2.
So there you go. And so anybody interested in one of these, Rebecca will know what it would cost to ship it to you if you're out of town. There is local delivery, and Jenny will quite willingly write in it for you whatever you'd like if you're giving it as a gift to some Londoner who might like to. It's the perfect gift for somebody who's moved away from London, or who's just. It's a perfect gift. It's great. Or buy 2. So. When you're doing your collation of antiquarian books, has there ever been something that you found inside a book that you thought, oh my God, this is so cool? Like, for example, somebody has maybe written in the book, autographed the book, or all of a sudden you come across an association copy and you weren't quite expecting it.
Occasionally, somebody will sign their name from way back in the 18th century, whatever. So there's some very old signatures. We found some interesting news clippings and so on, like the author's obituary that somebody flipped out and just happened to leave inside. Once in a while, the author, a celebrity author, will sign, and that's a wonderful thing because it makes the price of the book go way up.
Did Walt Whitman there qualify as a celebrity author?
Yes, yes. I just bought one that was an autographed edition, limited to 500, and it was owned by Richard Maurice Buck, who wrote a book called Cosmic Consciousness, and he was also the head of the London Lunatic Asylum when it was called that.
That's sometimes what Brian accuses me of running. But and that's you've had another limited edition book by Walt Whitman about 2-3 years ago. That little tiny guy.
Yeah, it shows up a fair bit here because Buck was also one of Whitman's literary executors, and so a fair number of Whitman's books came up here.
Well, the other thing is that not only, I mean, you handle books, you handle postcards, you also handle photographs.
Photographs, maps, and prints.
And really, basically anything that's ephemeral that intrigues you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And has the, with the photographs, you've had some pretty amazing ones with First Nations and didn't you just place some photos somewhere?
I got a collection of books from Alaska.
Thank you. You
that
were on the
was,
squeaking a bit.
based on a film that was done in 1917, and it was one of the first movies about Alaska, and that went up to the archives in Alaska.
Wow. So, I mean, obviously over 45 years, you've handled a lot of pretty significant and important books. Is there one that was the most exciting both to find and to place?
There's been a lot. So,
Pick one.
Nuremberg?
Oh, we've already talked about the Nuremberg.
That's
well,
old hat.
recently it was a nice collection of Robert E. Howard stuff, so who wrote the Conan books, and so there were quite a few books that Robert E. Howard had written, and he wrote a lot, and he died when he was 30.
And speaking of him, one of the big, Stephen King is still very collectible.
Yes.
And I think that down here, thank you so much, Jenny.
You're welcome.
You have just recently acquired, I believe, Stephen King.
Yes.
So, going up. These are the cases where books that are first editions, signed, or significant, are just sort of a tad out of the price range of being, you don't want them to get shop worn or handled incorrectly. And these, you don't come across where the heck is it? The Stephen King very often, in this condition.
On the top shelf there.
Yes. So here we have, and what's really nice is that when you're getting significant books by authors that you may like, there's a nice write-up, and Jenny has collated the book. She's made sure that, you know, if it's a first state, by the way, what is a first state?
First state is the first printings that come off the press, and then sometimes they make alterations. They find, you know, like there's a problem on further in the book that they need to correct. It's a misspelled word or
And a first state is different from first printing.
First printing includes the first date, and then sometimes the second and third state. Sometimes the bindings change.
Like your books are all first state.
Well, some of my books are for all. I have it.
The Walter Dexter book is a first state.
Yeah, I collect. I collect. But what I always interested in is first edition, first printing, and when I can find a first state. First printing is particularly of new authors, is often a much smaller run.
Yes.
And just for anybody who's interested in literature, if you pan that wall, that is literature. Over there, because I collect biblio mysteries and thrillers, there's a whole section there on hardcover, and everything is in such fantastic condition. And then you collected pulp for quite a while.
I did. I liked the pulp paperbacks, some great covers, and some risque subject matter on occasion.
Like, here we go. I can't believe I just picked that right out. Anyway, and then there's an extensive section on art, on books and book
This
culture.
bookstore's got everything.
Everything here. But if you live in London or around, or you're visiting London, you can't go wrong. Come visit Attic Books at
240 Dundas.
240 Dundas Street, just down the street from Jonathan's, that's us, at 258. And you can also go online, and there is a very, very extensive online collection, which is up above. And Rebecca will make sure that it gets to you well packed, in good condition. And you can always trust condition here. Their prices are good, their people are fair, and it's just an extraordinary bookstore. And that is What's Up Downtown with Jonathan this Friday.